You awaken each morning with a private ache, an ember of talent glowing inside you, searching for air, begging for shape, demanding a place to burn. You feel its heat in quiet flashes, the moment you solve a small problem faster than anyone else, the instant a melody settles in your mind, the flicker of insight when a friend asks your advice. But before that spark can burst into a roaring flame, the world presses its frantic thumb upon it. It tells you there is no time for slow-growing fires, that destiny arrives in push notification seconds, that mastery is obsolete because virality is king. And so you scroll, you swipe, you search for the shortcut that will crown your talent overnight. And every scroll is a blanket over the ember, every swipe a gust that cools the coal until it pretends to sleep. Hear the hard truth. The ember never truly sleeps. It smolders in the dark, starving yet stubborn, waiting for the discipline that alone can feed it. This is the crucible Ryan Holiday captures in The Obstacle is the Way. The revelation that the very resistance you flee from is the forge that can temper you. And this is the ancient wisdom Robert Greene distills in Mastery, that greatness is not a lightning strike of fate, but a pilgrimage of deliberate steps. Holiday hands you the flint, Greene the map. Together they whisper, the barrier is the path and the path is long, but on its stones you will hammer your purpose into form. Look around. History is a gallery of souls who chose process over applause. Michelangelo carved marble blocks for 4 unpaid years before a single patron hailed him a genius. Marie Curie counted invisible rays in a frozen shed, while others collected awards she would eventually eclipse. Nelson Mandela sat in a cell, day after monotonous day, learning the language of his captors so he could someday negotiate their surrender. They did not pursue quick success. They embraced slow transfiguration. They understood that clay cannot leap into a statue, that it must first endure the molding hand, the kiln, the chisel. You feel lost because you have mistaken movement for progress and noise for signal. You sprint in circles and wonder why the scenery never changes. You tape borrowed wings to your shoulders and wonder why the air will not hold you. Talent is not a passport. It is only the raw ore. Purpose is forged when the ore is melted and beaten and cooled again and again until it carries the temper of your struggle inside its gleam. Without the furnace of focused effort, talent rusts into regret. So pause the race. Breathe. Find one craft. Just one. That draws your curiosity like iron filings to a magnet. Then kneel before it, humbly, like the apprentice in Greene's pages who sweeps the workshop floor before daring to touch the master's tools. Let repetition become your teacher. Let failure become your tutor. Let patience become your creed. You will not see progress every day, but you will feel the sinew of resilience weaving itself through your spirit. And on some distant morning, without ceremony, you will wake to discover that the ember has become a quiet, steady furnace, capable of lighting not only your path, but the paths of those who huddle shivering in the dark. Tell me, right now, as the echo of these words vibrates in your chest, what is the nonsense you will stop chasing today? Scroll no further until you type it below. Declare it. Release it. Your first act of mastery is not a grand gesture. It is a simple renunciation of distraction. Because when distraction falls away, the real journey begins. You step onto the rugged road where every obstacle is a teacher disguised as hardship. The hill of confusion trains your lungs. The wall of criticism broadens your shoulders. The valley of anonymity steals your heart. Each mile carves away the excess and reveals the contour of the person you were meant to become. Ancient Stoics called this the art of turning adversity to advantage. Artisans call it practice. Athletes call it conditioning. It is all the same alchemy, discomfort transmuted into power. And somewhere along that road, perhaps while you sand the 1,000th plank, write the 100th page, or repeat the lonely drill at dawn, you will glimpse a door only you can open. It is cut to the exact dimensions of your accumulated skill, your hard-earned insight, your singular perspective. Others pass by without noticing, but you recognize its shape because you forged the key with every deliberate hour you invested when no one was watching. The door swings wide, not onto applause, but onto deeper chambers of challenge and creation. Purpose is not the trophy at the end. It is the corridor that stretches endlessly forward, beckoning you to keep crafting yourself into its perfect traveler. Keep walking. Listen to the rhythm of your own footsteps, the steady percussion of effort meeting earth. Each strike is a syllable in the epic poem you are etching into time. You do not need an audience yet. The mountain doesn't applaud the river that carves it. It simply surrenders grain by grain to the patience of flowing water. So you too will let persistence erode every doubt until even the granite of fear yields. Night arrives. The path vanishes in the dark, and suddenly you feel the ancient animal of uncertainty stalking at your heels. It whispers that you are too late, too old, too unprepared, too fragile, that you have wasted the window when greatness might have been possible. Do not barter your courage for that lie. History demolishes it. Colonel Sanders was past 60 when he began perfecting his recipe. Grandma Moses first lifted a paintbrush in her 70s. The seed of mastery does not consult a calendar before it germinates. It answers only to depth of commitment and breadth of imagination. Notice how the mind fights the labor it secretly craves. It clamors for novelty, for praise, for the easy chemical jolt of meaningless victories. But mastery is a vow, not a flirtation. It asks you to marry the craft, to share long silences and weather every season. It calls for the fidelity of monks, the tenacity of climbers, the devotion of lighthouse keepers who tend a flame no storm can drown. And in return, it grants a quiet immortality, your fingerprints embedded in the very texture of the world. Hold that vision close as you rise before dawn while others sleep, as you stay after dusk while others feast, as you rewrite the line, retune the note, refit the joint. Those hours accrue compound interest in the bank of destiny. They convert raw intention into embodied instinct. They sculpt the neural pathways that turn clumsy practice into second nature. One day a spectator will gasp at your effortless grace, never guessing how many awkward years you spent stumbling in the wings. When fatigue claws at your throat, recall the men who dragged stones for the pyramids, the women who spun cathedral tapestries so vast no single life could complete them. They accepted a place in an unbroken chain, each link forged by hands that knew they would never see the final glory. That is the humility mastery demands, to pour your whole being into something larger than applause, larger than profit, larger even than yourself. Soon the dawn breaks again and the horizon widens. You begin to sense a current beneath your feet, a river of purpose carrying you, not swiftly but irresistibly forward. With every stride you unlearn the notion that destiny is found. You learn instead that destiny is made. You become the smith and the blade, the navigator and the sea. The world's chaos no longer feels hostile. It feels like raw material waiting for shape. Yet beware, mastery must never ossify into arrogance. The moment you believe you have arrived, you forfeit the pilgrim's hunger that opened the door in the first place. Adopt instead the mindset of the eternal novice. The Japanese masters call it shoshin, beginner's mind, an attitude of perpetual openness. Leonardo da Vinci dissected corpses at night to refine his comprehension of the living form, even after brushstrokes immortalized him. Maya Angelou, despite shelves of awards, confessed before every new book that she feared being discovered as a fraud, and then she wrote anyway, letting vulnerability sharpen her quill. So fill your lungs with courage and humility at once, courage to step boldly into the unknown, humility to kneel before what you do not yet understand. Let those twin forces propel you through the crucible of iteration. Draft, test, fail, learn, adjust, repeat. Every rotation through that fire anneals your identity to your craft. You cease asking, "What is my purpose?" because you are busy living it in motion, stroke by deliberate stroke. Along the journey you will meet companions, mentors who lend you their lens, rivals who sharpen your edge, students who mirror your own beginnings. Each one is a prism through which you glimpse another facet of truth. Do not hoard wisdom. Circulate it as blacksmiths share sparks from the same anvil. In teaching, your knowledge crystallizes. In competition, your skills refine. In collaboration, your vision widens until it envelops horizons you never dreamed. And when the inevitable storm breaks, when economies crash, when opinions howl, when illness, grief, or betrayal knock you to one knee, remember the Stoic law Ryan Holiday heralds. The obstacle does not block the path. The obstacle is the path. Bend but do not break. Pivot but do not quit. Let hardship be your hammer and adversity your whetstone. A sword that never feels the strike remains dull. A heart that never bleeds remains naive. In the flicker between thunderclaps, ask yourself this: have I built a practice resilient enough to stand when all scaffolds fall? If the answer is yes, you have already won, for mastery is measured not by medals, but by the permanence of your resolve. Now, breathe once more and look inward. Feel the pulse of your unfinished symphony beating against your ribs. Listen to its refrain: 2 years. 2 years is long enough to rewire a habit, to learn a language, to map an unknown frontier of science, to craft an app that heals a hidden pain, to break a record. No one thought breakable. What do you choose to master in the next 2 years? Dare to write it below. Name the craft, the discipline, the art. Etch the promise in digital stone, and let the world bear witness to your declaration. As you type, realize that the true audience is not me, nor the algorithm, nor even the countless strangers scrolling past. Your true audience is the future self who will look back with gratitude or regret. Give that self a tale worth remembering. Then rise, close the glowing screen. Return to the raw material of your calling, the blank canvas, the silent instrument, the unruly code, the untrained limb, the untouched soil. Shape it tonight, shape it tomorrow, shape it through boredom and exhilaration and every shade between, until the day you stand before the mirror and see not a wanderer but a craftsman staring back, eyes steady, hands sure, heart ablaze. And should a tremor of doubt ripple through you even then, recall the lineage behind you. The sculptor's dust, the scholar's candle, the rebel's cell, the farmer's plow, the sailor's sextant, all whispering that purpose is less a destination than a discipline, less a thunderbolt than a heartbeat, steady and relentless. Keep that beat alive. Guard it from the thieves of distraction and the rust of indifference. Feed it patience, sharpen it with curiosity, shelter it with humility, crown it with action. Because one day, quietly, unmistakably, the ember that sparked this journey will ignite another in someone else. They will watch you, not for the applause you gather, but for the devotion you embody. Your mastery will become a lighthouse, pointing them toward their own unlit shore. And in that moment, legacy is born, not as a monument, but as a relay, fire passed from hand to hand across the dark. The camera now pulls back, revealing the long road you have traveled, and the longer one that stretches forward. Dawn again. The air hums with possibility. You inhale, lift your tools, and step into the light. Craftsman, pilgrim, architect of your own becoming. If these words resonate, if they strike the chord you've been struggling to name, then go. Begin. Let the world feel the heat of a soul that finally knows where to burn. And now, if this woke something up inside you, if it reminded you of who you are and what you're truly capable of, then don't keep it to yourself. There's someone out there right now still living in silence, still drowning in excuses, still waiting for permission to rise. Share this with them. Be the reason they wake up too. And if you're tired of surface-level thinking, tired of the noise, the excuses, the sleepwalking through life, then take your seat. This isn't just a channel. It's a circle around the fire. A place for those who are done being average and ready to rise. Here, we don't just talk about growth, we burn for it. So take your seat at the fire. Subscribe, not just to content, but to the mindset, the mission, the movement. Let them scroll. Let them sleep. You build empires.